Hello, it's Rebecca here from Precious Pages Papercraft, and today I'm designing a layout for Bramble Fox using items from the January Fox box, as well as our new stencil, which I believe is stencil number 53. And I'm using the gorgeous winter title with a couple of trees that you get. I just absolutely adore the colours on these perspectives. They're like blues and greens, and they work perfectly with Pink Fresh Studios' new Simply the Best collection. So I've gone through that collection and picked out some papers that match those perspectives perfectly. And I've used my Hip Kit metal nesting dies just to cut the hexagons out. And I've used, rather than putting them through my die cutting machine, I've just used them as kind of stencils and drawn around. So I've used the inner edge and the outer edge and then doubled them up, sort of layered them. You can see here, I've distressed all the edges, and then stuck the smaller one on top of the larger one, so that I can layer them up and build a design based on those. And then I've cut my photo in a hexagon as well. So I placed all those hexagons on my background and then drew around them with a pencil, so that helps me know where to put my mixed media. And I'm using my Bramble Fox stencil to add a little bit of colour to my background. I don't want anything mad, I just want something a little subtle. So I've picked out a couple of distress oxides. I've got a green shade, which is Rustic Wilderness, and then a kind of turquoisey blue colour, which is Mermaid Lagoon. And I'm using them one on top of the other just to match the colours in the papers and the perspectives. So I don't want anything sort of too blue or too green, I want a mix of both. And as you can see, in some areas I've pressed with my blending brush harder to get a more sort of darker, vivid colour. And then in other areas I've just brushed really lightly, so you get a really subtle look, that almost kind of whispery look that fades out towards the edges. And I love how that looks along with the Pink Fresh papers. I just think the stencil just works really well with that collection. And it's added some lovely detail into my background as well. So just on top of that, before I stick anything down, I've decided I want to add some splatters as well. So I just mixed the two different Distress Oxide colours on some Bramble Fox packaging. Honestly, top tip there, never throw away your Bramble Fox packaging. It's fantastic to use for mixed media. I use it to mix colours on or water down inks for splatters like I did here, or I use it for the packaging technique. It never gets thrown away, I always keep it for my mixed media. So I just added the colours to it there and added a spritz of water and then added some splatters. And I have dried those up by rolling a paper towel over them, so the splatters aren't as kind of bold and obvious as they would have been had I let them air dry. But at the end I do come in and add a few more, and I do leave those ones to air dry, so they are a bit more obvious, a bit darker. But these ones I've rolled the towel over, it soaks up a lot of the colour, so it's just some subtle splatters on the background. And now I'm working my way around getting these hexagons stuck in place with some double-sided tape. I've added some foam behind my photo to raise that up, because I always like my photo to remain the focal point of my layout. I don't think I ever make sort of really busy layouts, because I do like to have a bit of white space. But I find if I embellish a lot, then my photo sometimes gets lost, and I do want it to remain the thing that your eye is drawn to when you look at the page. And I find that adding a little bit of foam behind it just helps that, because it sits higher up on the page than a lot of the other things. And I want my title, my winter perspective, to sort of overlap my photo, and because I have raised it up on foam, I am having to add a little bit of foam behind that title for the area that's going to sit flush with my background, just to give it some contact, and then it will sit nice and flat on the page like so. And you'll notice I'm peeling off the backing on my perspectives. When you get your Bramble Fox products, they usually do have a protective film either on one side or both sides, depending if there's etched details or not. So you do need to just peel that off, and then it will reveal kind of the true colour of the perspective and the nice either shiny or mirrored look that some of them have got. I like these perspectives because they're kind of like a matte look, so they're not shiny at all, and I think those are actually probably my favourite ones. I don't know why, I'm just really drawn to them, and I love things that are shiny, so it's a bit weird for me, but I do love that these perspectives in particular have got a matte finish to them. I just think it's just a really classy look that goes really well with this Pink Fresh collection. And I've got my perspective stuck down now. I've used my glossy accents for that. It always holds really nicely. It's like my go-to adhesive for them. And I'm just adding a few little embellishments. I don't want to go mad and overcrowd the page. I've got those 2 acrylic trees as embellishment, so I just want to add a few little bits. So I've got a couple of leaf sprigs and then a few little kind of sentiment things. Nothing mad at all, and then a few little stars, sort of puffy sticker stars that I'm adding around the edges there. And just have a quick look through the other bits I've got for this collection to see if there's any more I want to add. But I actually really do like how this layout is looking as it is, and I haven't heavily embellished at all, but because the pattern papers have got some really nice patterns and colours on, they almost look embellished themselves. So really love how that looks with just minimal embellishing. And then I'm just finishing off there with some splatters, again mixing those 2 Distress Oxides together to match the colouring that I used for the stenciling. And that is me done. So thank you very much for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed this layout and the process. I'll leave some links in the description box below for you to Bramble Fox and to our Foxbox subscription page. It's our monthly subscription, so you get lots of goodies sent to you every month, and also exclusive acrylics as well, so well worth signing up to. So I'll leave the link for that below. But thanks very much for joining me, and I'll see you next time.